My name is Ibadat Javed, and I'm here with another edition of the Saints Coaches Corner. I'm here with my coach, Neil Caniga, who's the head coach of both the men's and women's team. Hi, Coach. How are you doing today?
Doing well, doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time out and being here. So I thought we could start off with just kind of the most pressing question that a lot of people have today, which is, what's it like being a coach during COVID times with restrictions in place, a few of your players off campus, and things like social distancing and masks, and all the rules that are on campus right now?
I mean, it's definitely been different, especially compared to a normal season. I would say this semester as a whole has been entirely different. But the nice thing is it's kind of given us an opportunity to learn how to adapt and do some things differently over the course of season. Even myself as a coach allows me to kind of reassess how I do things and what's going to make us most productive over the course of the season. So it's definitely been interesting. Having our players having masks on during practice all the time is a lot different than something we're used to. I think, especially initially, it's a bit challenging. But our players have been able to adapt to it really well, which has been good. And certainly, we've been presented with all sorts of different challenges between having players on campus, players that are online, and players that aren't here this semester. So it's been kind of an interesting mix as a whole, being able to work with those players that are here, but still being able to keep connected with players that are, off campus right now.
Yeah. So what do you think are some of the key aspects in like overcoming the challenges that the tennis team is facing? Like you said, the masks are kind of an unusual addition to practice, and then the players being off campus. Like, how do you think we've managed to stay connected with everyone, and how do you think we managed to stay positive even with things looking a little bit different than a normal semester?
Yep. I mean, I think from the mask perspective, it's just something we just got used to. We just adjusted to it. I think it's something at first that is a little awkward, but once you kind of get going, it's not really that big of a deal as we go along. Certainly makes it a little bit more challenging when we're doing intense competition and things like that over the course of practice. But all in all, I think that's been really good for us. And as far as our players staying connected over the course of time, I feel like the teams have done a pretty good job. I know the teams have been doing different Zoom meetings. I know, your team on the women's side on Sundays have been doing regular team meetings with everybody to kind of keep in touch. The men are always super active in group chats of staying kind of regularly connected with each other. And then, myself as a coach, I'm trying to make sure that I'm keeping in contact with all those people off the court through Zoom calls, phone calls, and all of that as well. So it's definitely been challenging, but I think it's definitely something that we've been able to overcome and able to kind of stay connected so that as we transfer into kind of next semester and everything, there's a little bit more familiarity with everybody between, first years coming in and the players that aren't on campus, and then being able to connect.
Yeah, no, I think Zoom's definitely been a great addition, and it's kind of helped all of us stay in touch, even with people who are not here. So I think that's been a key part of like keeping those connections going. So speaking of next semester, I know that since spring is usually our normal season and it's when we practice the most, what are some hopes that you have for the spring? Because I think we've had a pretty successful fall semester with practice and team building and stuff. So what are some things that you're looking forward to for the spring semester?
I think for the spring semester, it's kind of building on the things that we were working on in the fall. A lot of the things that we've done, and really my approach, I think this fall, since we had no competition, also since we haven't had full squads here and everything, is taking the groups that we have and kind of doing two things. The biggest for me is that kind of culture building and team building aspect of really trying to get them to connect. It's been a lot different. I think we've lost a lot of things this fall between tournaments and the ability to travel together as a team and all these great connections. So it's kind of been nice to be together in the capacity that we can. And it's about taking that now into the spring and being able to build on it, because there will be changes. While there's been a lot of progress made this spring, at certain aspects we'll almost kind of have to start over with in the spring, because we'll have new players now coming in into the mix. We might have some players that are not here, that were here in the fall, not here in the spring. So it'll almost be continuing what we're building on, but also making sure that the players that haven't been here, we kind of introduce in the same fashion that we did over the course of the fall season. So I assume that, beginning of spring will be very similar to the beginning of the fall. And then the hopes is, there's some form of competition in there for the spring. Obviously, there's so much unknown right now, but it'd be great to have, even if a little bit in there, for us to be able to really set goals as a team to look forward to some matches. But outside of that, it's just going to be the kind of constant aspect of continuous growth with us as players and trying to get everybody a little bit better as each week progresses over the course of the season, and really see where that takes us.
Yeah, I think if the spring is anything like the fall, it should probably be a great semester. Even if we have limited competition, I think just having the team there and having practice and stuff like that is definitely going to be beneficial to the team's development and growth. So kind of going off of just the stuff that we're talking about, like new players and stuff like that, how has the recruiting process been this semester? I know that we have a lot of rules before people are allowed to visit campus, and we're obviously not allowed to do overnight visits, which is like an essential part of the recruiting process. So what's been the challenge in trying to find players, trying to stay connected with players who are looking at St. Lawrence as a prospective school?
Yep. I mean, definitely the visitation aspect's been challenging, but kind of the good thing is, pretty much for the last year now, we've kind of had a large number of recruits that we've been in communication with, been in constant contact with. So it's been kind of continuing that. And then now as we've gotten into the fall, it's about, kind of introducing the campus to them in a different light between virtual tours, virtual admissions visits, things like that, if they're unable to visit campus. Early on, we were able to have a few recruits visit, but for the most part, everything's been kind of virtual, and even from the same aspect of meeting the team. So it's definitely presented as challenges, but I think, we've done kind of the best that we can do with it, because really the keys, I think, for these players are being able to see the campus, get a feel for the university, but really even more importantly, especially coming in from a team aspect, is getting a feel for what the tennis teams are like themselves and the players on them. So we've been able to set up Zoom calls with the teams, be able to do individual calls from players to recruits and things like that. That really helped a lot too. So, that's kind of what we've been doing over the course of the time. So while we've lost that in-person aspect of being able to really bring students up here, I think we've kind of found a good supplement for that has really been able to give recruits kind of a good perspective on what St. Lawrence is like as a student and a student athlete.
Yeah, for sure. But has it been hard just because competition is limited right now? Has it been hard keeping up with players when it comes to like athletic results and stuff like that? Have you relied on things like videos and stuff to kind of get a feel for what a player looks like on court?
Yep. Yeah, I think videos have been huge. Obviously tournaments in kind of the USTA and in the nation have been lessened. They picked up a bit there kind of end of summer, early fall. So students have kind of been able to produce some results and be able to do that. But really, video has been big. And I think that was even a challenge to start with, because when the pandemic first hit, nobody's able to film videos because they didn't really have that ability to get out on court. So the fact that, we've been able to get those videos, the fact that there are some results coming in now, certainly been able to help continue to target, recruits for us and give us a better idea of, where they might fit into in the mix with St. Lawrence tennis.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I think because video's always been kind of a great thing to use, even because I remember when I was being recruited, we did videos too. So I guess it's good that we have something to get a feel for a player's athletic ability in addition to kind of getting to know them personally.
Yep,
So,
absolutely.
kind of my last question for you is, based on how the fall went, it was an unusual semester. We definitely adapted a lot to the different rules and things that were going on around us. What do you think your main takeaways were from the fall semester? What do you think the best part of the semester was? And how do you think all of your players adapted to everything going on? And do you think they made the best of what they had at the time?
Yep. I mean, I think coming into the season, before we even started being on court, and everybody came back for the semester, we had some team meetings out on the outdoor courts, kind of, socially distanced and everything, to start talking about, what the semester is going to look like, what our feelings are, because obviously everyone coming back, it's a lot different from what they're used to. And I really think the main theme from everybody was this idea of gratefulness for just being here, being able to be on campus, and no matter what we have, whether it's the same as normal or a limited capacity, about really just understanding how grateful we are to have that. So I really think that was kind of the main thing going forward and starting the season was, I think our players really did a good job of understanding that. So the adjustments that we made for practices that I think have been great are, normally we only have like 5 or 6 weeks in the fall to be able to work with our athletes. And while that's a lot jammed into that time and condensed between tournaments, practicing almost every day and doing that, typically by the time October 1st hits, we lose our ability to really work with our players on court. So now in the new format where we're able to kind of pick and choose days that we're practicing, we've been going still to date, where this Friday is our final practice day. So we've been going for over 2 months on court right now. And I think that's been fantastic for us. So the biggest things that we've been able to grow from is really build that culture up. And I think our players have just been happy to have something to do, to keep their minds off of, the stresses of learning, online learning, all sorts of things that are out there. So I think everyone's been really grateful to kind of have this opportunity, no matter what the capacity was, to really be out there, be together, to be able to kind of do what they love doing, which is play tennis on a frequent basis.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's definitely, even if things are weird, it's definitely been nice, just because I feel like being on court is the one sense of normal that we have, with everything else looking so different. Like you said, online classes, spending so much time in front of screens. So I think tennis even like personally, I think it's been a great outlet for athletes. And I think that we really did make the most of our semester. And I think having the opportunity to extend past our normal fall semester was great, just in terms of like building team relationships. We got to see players more and things like that. So I think it was definitely a great semester practice wise.
Absolutely. Yep.
Thank you so much again for taking the time out. It was really nice having you on here for a discussion. And I really enjoyed hearing what you thought about the semester and your hopes for the spring semester.
Thank you so much.